Gonna get a lot of dough. Anything is possible. Turn me up in the headphone. Yeah. Trying to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Yeah. Oh man, I got a lot of gold. Stack that bread and vomit nose. Anything is possible. Yeah. Trying to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Hey. Oh man, I got a lot of gold. Stack that bread and vomit nose. Anything is possible. Hey. I grind to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Yeah. Oh man, I got a lot of gold. Stack that bread and vomit nose. Anything is possible. Yeah, all I know is get paper. All I do is shit major. Bought a condo on the top floor and the building's a skyscraper. Feeling like I'm Kobe, LeBron for the Lakers. Feeling like I'm Idris, Paul Walker, Taker. New Rollie, no diamonds in it. New Porsche, all dimes in it. I'm infatuated with fine women. Corona extra with the lime in it. Just a chase to Henny. Used to be a penny pincher. Now I'm in plenty business. Grind hard, nigga, on guard.
Grind hard, nigga, on guard.
Yeah. We grind to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Hey. Oh man, I got a lot of gold. Stack that bread and vomit nose. Anything is possible. Hey. I grind to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Yeah. Oh man, I got a lot of gold. Stack that bread and vomit nose. Anything is possible. I lean with it, I rock with it. Locks under my socks fitted. Tahoe with the black tint. Houston girl, heavy accent, but my whole swag is magic. High five, fantastic. Make the money stretch like elastic. Making moves that you couldn't imagine. Eating, still watching my calories. Just to pull in that big boy salary. It's just the way that it has to be. I'm a bad boy, Mike Lowry. While I'm sipping this Henny, and all of my niggas is with me. Yeah, grind hard, nigga, on guard.
Grind hard, nigga, on guard.
Yeah. Grind to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Hey. Oh man, I got a lot of gold. Stack that bread and vomit nose. Anything is possible. Hey. I grind to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Yeah. Oh man, I got a lot of gold. Stack that bread and vomit nose. Anything is possible.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy, Dog Waters. Just a quick sound check. You should be hearing me pretty clearly without a problem whatsoever. If you're in the chat, hit the like button. Don't act stingy. What's up, Connor? I see you in there. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I see Aaron in there. Tamara, haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Bum Kiss, you've been around from the beginning, pimp. Good to see you as well. Hit the like button. Give me a confirmation. Okay, there we go. You can definitely hear me. That's what I wanted to get to. Tonight, we're going to be going and taking more live calls on Dogman. Your thoughts on Dogman, your thoughts on some of the events that are going on. The way I learned, like I said before, everything about this topic was because I spoke to you guys. You know what I'm saying? And I continually made myself vulnerable and spoke to as many people as I could. That's how I got to the point to where I know what I know about Dogman. So it's not like I'm some Dogman encyclopedia. It's just a matter of filtering through the information and pulling out the true tidbits and throwing away the trash. And so essentially what you're witnessing on this show is you're witnessing the conversations that I would have with people. Some of them are more funny. Some of them are more contentious because the person's lying. Other ones are, I'm just convinced. But you kind of get a feel for what happens when I'm just on the regular phone with people. Now, some house cleaning notes and housekeeping notes. If you remember at IamDogWaters.com, you just got a new story today. You have 2 new stories tomorrow. I think you have 13 that came back from the editor. So you have plenty of content dropping over the next 13 days. Here on YouTube, for all my Dogman lovers, you're going to get some of the more violent Dogman encounters. The next 2 are one of them is extremely violent. The other one is just creepy, and I don't know. I don't know how to describe that. Um, it's scary because it was people in a very vulnerable situation where Dogman, and I still haven't figured out what it was trying to do or why it was there. They didn't do anything to assault it until after it started doing stupid stuff. I don't understand why it was. Maybe it was cold. I don't know what the hell was going on. But nonetheless, you guys got some frightening Dogman encounters coming your way. And then members, for my 2017 members, if you've been on the rolls and rosters of I Am Dog Water since 2017, tomorrow morning, I need you to check your email because I'm sending you a special email. It's about 150 of you guys who, maybe 160 that's been here since 2017. I'm starting to roll out the rewards for those original 2017 people. And I'm doing some special things for you guys because you've been with me from the beginning. You guys are really, really a huge part of the core audience. And if you were with me in 2017 and then for some reason you popped out and you've been since 2018, shoot me an email at im@imdarkwaters.com because you're not going to want to miss out on what's coming these guys' way. But in order for me to get you guys everything, I kind of got to get you to fill out a little form where I can get an address to mail stuff to you, so you can get your gifts, because I'm definitely for my OGs, and I got a bunch of OGs. Those are the people who have the submarines and the battleships in the dark waters. They've been with me from the beginning, and they've never wavered. There's one person that was like the first person that ever signed up, and that person's been with me from the very beginning. Like, I watched that account like sit there and like, wow, you just never left. You know what I'm saying? And I could appreciate that. So I want to show my appreciation to you. You're gonna love what I'm sending you to, and it's not just one thing. The first one is tomorrow. The next one is next month. Like, you're gonna be constantly getting stuff from me, just as a sign of my appreciation. You know what I'm saying? Little small trinkets, little things that that I think you will like. Alrighty. For those of you who want to call in, the number is 504-354-0143. It is on the screen, 504-354-0143. Greg wants him a few cigars. I got a couple of cigars right here for you, Playboy. I don't know if I'm going to smoke tonight. My voice has been a little bit off. A little bit. Not a lot, but I don't know if I'm going to do a whole bunch of smoking tonight, because my voice has been bothering me. The number, 504-354-0143. 504-354-0143. We had some interesting phone calls last week. For the record, if you called in last week, this is not a show where you're going to call in week after week and just occupy time and talk about the same stuff. We're looking for new callers every week. We're not looking for, the same person calling telling the same story. We're looking for new people. Or if you called last week and you just talked about something and you have a story this week, give me a call, 504-354-0143. Also, somebody, I don't know who this was, I guess you got the Skype number and you figure you should just like dial the number 100 times? Like, what is wrong with you, B? Like, I logged into Skype and it's like 100 missed phone calls from this number. Like, what the hell is wrong with you, dog? Like, so you got blocked. Let me tell you guys, don't go full retard just because you got access to a phone number. Like, it's nothing new for a phone number for me to be out there on me. Like, my number has been public for a long time. Like, it's been public for a very long time. So there's no need to go full retard because you see this number. Like, if you hit me up, I'm going to hit you back. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to, like, blow the line up like a psychopath. All that's going to do is get you blocked. Because if you calling me 20 times, 30 times, I'm not having no conversation with you, man. That's like a crazy broad calling you. You know what I'm saying? That's like a broad that follows you, pops up at your house and knocks on your door. Hey, how you doing? I'm not playing. Don't do that to yourself, man. Don't do that. Don't do it to yourself. All right, moving forward. So, in the Dogman community, we've discussed, if you guys have seen my video, the Dogman drops, where I went through eye shine, eye color, various locations where things have happened, the tendencies, the sizes, the looks, then you'll be able to catch on to what I'm saying right now really, really quickly. So the next one of those that I'm going to drop is going to be the actual encounters that are near water, and I'm going to drop some of the locations of those encounters. Now, in full disclosure, it ain't on me if you decide you go to any of these locations and you end up in a pile of dung, you end up with an arm missing or a spine broken or, slash marks on your body. I'm putting this out because I think it's important that people know what areas they go into, and what areas they're in, mainly for security and safety purposes. But if you decide that you're going to go, please call me before you go so I can get the story. Because I'm telling you, none of the locations I put out are fraudulent. None of them are fake. They're all real Dogman locations. And it's not wise for you to go to these locations. Even though people don't listen, they feel like, I'm just going to go here and dark water's full of crap. It's not wise for you to go there. And I'm going to tell you that up front. So, in fact, I'm going to plead with you not to go. The information should just be for informational purposes only, for those who live in that area, so they know to watch themselves. But there are a lot of quote-unquote dogman hunters, wannabe dogman hunters, and, they're going to do what they're going to do. So, holler at me before you go. That way, I can get the story. Because I know, especially these locations, good things are not going to happen to you at these locations whatsoever. Because these are not good locations. So, that'll be coming out. Today's Tuesday. That'll be coming out Thursday. Yeah, probably Friday. That'll come out. And you guys can take a look and see what's going on. Now, let's talk about something interesting that happened here just recently. This was Sunday. The motorbike boys, which they drag race and race cars down Haynes Boulevard in New Orleans East. My partner, who just was murdered, one of his closest friends was a motorbike boy. He and I ended up talking because the funeral's Saturday. We just talking about shit for the funeral and the family drama around Wood getting murdered. And he says, man, we was racing back there Sunday. He's like, dog, something started chasing a car. And I was like, what you mean something started chasing a car? He's like, dog, it looked like a big old dog started chasing a car. So essentially, if you look at a map of, in fact, best way to explain it to you guys, you remember where I went to mount that camera? Ooh, I forgot about that. Pause. Stop. I'm going to pick up right back there. Let me rewind and go back because I forgot another announcement. So for those of you who are members of Dogman Cam, I completed the audit, right? And this goes for anybody who was a member, and I'm going to go over on that channel maybe tonight and explain this. Anybody who was a member of Dogman Cams, I completed the audit. Everybody I know who was there, who wasn't there, you guys are going to get access to the website again. And then from there, you're going to have to go in. You're going to download the Reolink app like you did before. And you're going to scan the QR code and you're going to add the password, which is going to give you access to the cameras. So when you go back in there, you'll notice there's a black screen. A lot of people got angry because like this screen is black and it's never running. The problem that we had with that screen system where it streamed over the website was, number one, the bandwidth was very, very expensive because it had to go through a virtual computer on Amazon, and that was just crazy. Amazon's cloud. Then, in order to keep that camera functioning, someone had to stay up and keep that camera active and activated. So the camera goes to sleep and it rests like every 30 minutes. So someone had to be there clicking the button to get the camera to stay live all night. So we moved away from that and we moved to giving you direct access to the application with this camera's passcode. So essentially, if you were and still are a member of Dogman Cams, by tomorrow morning, everything's going to be posted. All you need to do is download the app, or if you have the existing app, you're going to delete the cameras that are there. You're going to scan the QR code, go click add new camera, scan the QR code, and then put the password in, which I almost just said, but we won't be saying the password for just randos, right? So and then you have access to the camera that's running right now. The second camera should be up relatively soon. The Florida camera will be back up probably Friday or Saturday. I talked to Blue Saturday of this last Saturday. I talked to Blue, and we're working out the problems that we had with that camera to get it running. Also, the power problems that we had with that camera because that one kept going down because of the battery kept running out. So it'll be 3 cameras. So then from there, there's going to be a 4th camera. The Area 51 camera fell apart. There's no way I can get in contact with the person that was doing that. I've been trying to contact them for months. For whatever reason, they're just not talking to me, and what they got shit going on is cool. And then I know DDoS is talking to some other researchers, some pretty solid Dogman researchers about putting cameras in their locations. One guy he's talking to is really solid. Like this dude he's got a lot of Dogman stuff. So camera's going to be going there. So you're going to notice that they roll out and they come online. And then again, the same thing I told you guys last time. I'm sticking to that agreement. If you were there, you got access. Period. And you don't have to worry about paying. If you've been paying, then however long you've been paying, your payment's going to end up getting cut off, and you're going to end up getting free for the time period that the cameras were down. So that company is going to struggle a little bit for revenue because we got to go back and make things right. So I'm going to make up that revenue by doing something else for that company to make it work out. But to do the right thing by the people who supported us, you got to forego the revenue and give people access to the camera. So that's what's about to go down. All right, now fast forward back to what I was talking about. So he's like, bruh, something was chasing one of the cars. Now, if you recall, when I put the camera up out there, if you recall, I could tell you when I put that camera up out there, I walked into this area and I had it on camera, right? And I think I might have videotaped myself digging in a hole for one of those cameras. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did, right? That's the same area, but it's the road that leads into that area where they race. So they typically either race down Haynes Boulevard till they get to that curve in the road, or they race around that curve. They start in the curve in the road and race all the way to Chalmette. But that's where they just recently encountered a Dogman where one of them was actually chasing a car. And this was Sunday night, which is crazy. And again, these is 100% hood dudes. They ain't lying. You know what I'm saying? They ain't about to call me and talk to me and tell me no lie about nothing. So I told him about me putting the camera back there and me walking back there. And he's like, bro, you crazy. Like, if that's the kind of shit that's back there, man, I wouldn't have never, ever went back there. No way in hell, he said he would have went back there and walked back there. So that's another Dogman story that's coming out. The number 504-354-0143. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Hello. Michelle, I really enjoyed that. I started listening. Michelle, you asked me about Owlman. Nobody ditched Owlman. Owlman called into a show the first time, then he called into the show a second time. He went through the vetting process because you can't come on the show and tell me that you fucking mind talk to Bigfoot and mind talk to fucking Dogman and then just be a persona and nobody knows who you are. So he was offered to come back. He got pissed off because we used his name. The reason why he said, he was upset is because he didn't want people to know his name. Well, if you didn't want people to know your name, then you shouldn't have been fucking out talking about Bigfoot. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I don't have no problem with the dude. It's just that I have a different standard. Like, if you're going to come here to one of my networks, then you're going to tell me who you are. You're going to tell me what you do. You're going to tell me the shit that everybody else goes through. Like, you know what I'm saying? Especially if you're going to present a persona that you're going to keep coming back with. So you call in one time, oh, this blah, blah, blah. Cool. All right, you was on one time. Now you want to call in again? Boom, boom, boom. Now you want to be on a show where you want to be interviewed? Okay, you go through what everybody else goes through that's interviewed here. If you go back and look at, for example, Greg Connor's in here. He was on the show. Greg was thoroughly vetted by me for years. So That's my vetting process, and the whole organization abides by that rule. There is no, there's no like wavering on that. That's the rules over here. You're welcome to go do something, anything you don't want to do anywhere else, but here, um, those are the rules. And now I do that to keep the quality where it needs to be. Because people have expectations of shit from me, so you can't just come over here and say you mind talk to Bigfoot, and we don't dig into what the fuck you saying. You know what I'm saying? That it is what it is. One second, let me get a little water. And that's why our content is so good, because we do just that. Unfortunately, sometimes it becomes contentious because people don't want to be vetted. And if you don't want to be vetted, which I'm not saying, and let me pause and say, I don't, our man went through the process. Maybe he got pissed off because he had to go through the process. But at the end of the day, those are my standards. Sean was trained by me. That's the standards he used. Vault was trained by me. Those are the same standards he used. Like D's, I've been working with D-Doss. You'll notice that D-Doss used the same standards. He already kind of had the same standards when he was dealing with people. But that's how you maintain a good show. You maintain a good show by guaranteeing that there's enough transparency to where you, the listener, know who's talking to you and understand who's talking to you. So you can say confidently say, okay, this person is telling the truth. Now, when you do a open line show like this, again, the number is 504-354-0143. Excuse me, anybody could call in and tell their story. Like last week, I'm listening to the stories and I'm hearing things and stories that don't add up, and I'm asking questions, but I'm not pinning my ears back on anyone because it's an open line show. Now, had a lot of those people called me on my private phone number, I would have pinned my ears back and said, okay, this don't make sense, this don't make sense, this don't make sense, this don't make sense. Explain this, explain this, explain this, because I'm picking up on it. But it's a different thing. Open lines is one thing. Hardcore story vetting is another. When you go open lines and you call once, you might get away with all kinds of stuff. When you start calling 2, 3, 4 times, now you got to start getting the hard questions because at the end of the day, I have a reputation. So, and that's all it is to it. So that explains that one for you guys. All right, so who's calling in? 504-354-0143. Who's calling in, or is everybody scared to call? The topic is, I didn't even tell y'all what the hell the topic was because I was so busy rambling and running off of my mouth. The topic is, what percentage of the missing people do you think that are in national forests? What percentage do you think can be attributed to Dogman? So a lot of people relate it to the missing 411, and they say, well, I believe the missing 411 aren't just people who came up missing and vanished. What percentage do you correlate as dogman attacks to the number of people that are missing? I'll tell you my answers and my thoughts on it once you guys call in. Don't type it in the chat. Call the number 504-354-0143. Don't be scared. I ain't gonna bite you. But I think it's interesting. There's really one person who covers the Dogman attacks on YouTube, and that's Jeff Natalizzi, my boy. He does a great job of covering the attacks, and then the cover-ups that are associated with the Dogman attacks. I can confirm for sure that there are cover-ups, and there's quite a few of them. I dug into it, I looked at it, I saw it, and I was like, I don't think I want that kind of smoke. I don't want that kind of smoke. So, 504-354-0143. I think it's a significant number. A really, really significant number of people that go missing that have, and it may not just be Dogman. It could be other cryptids. We got a call coming in. Yo, this is Dark Waters. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, DW. I'm a fan from California.
What's up, my friend?
Nothing much. Just trying to drive home from work. It's been a long day. I saw that you were live, and I'm like, oh, hell yeah. For once, I see them live. Let's try calling in and see how that goes.
Awesome, man. What would you say your name again was?
Full name or just like nickname?
You can give me a nickname. I just want to know what to refer to you by because I thought you just said it and I overspoke you.
Oh, not so good. Memo. Memo.
Okay, that's what I thought. Memo. Okay, gotcha. Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
So how's work going so far?
Honestly, dude, it's been pretty weird lately. Like, it picked up hella, and then it's down again, I guess.
What?
Uh,
You getting a paycheck though, right? You getting paid, right?
oh, hell yeah. I'm at least getting paid for that.
Yeah, as long as you getting your check, man, just ride the wave, baby. You gonna need that money.
Hell yeah, especially with coming down the road, shit.
Yeah, you see it. Everybody see it. All right. So, what's your thoughts on the whole Dogman thing? How many of those people you think that went missing in the woods can be attributed to Dogman / cryptids? Let's broaden it. / cryptids.
Like, cryptid, shit. If 100 is every single one of them getting mauled and eaten and never seen again, I don't think it's 100. I also don't think it's about 50. I think somewhere in the middle, maybe like 60 or so. But then I believe, like me, my personal beliefs from what I've seen from you and other people like, similar topics.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure if you like cool to talk about it or bring it up. I'll just like drop a seed. They have something to do with the dumbs, no?
Oh, I can't confirm that. I mean, it would make sense if they have something to do with the deep underground bases. When you say something to do with the dumbs, you mean as in they came out of the dumbs, or they were?
As in they're guarding something.
Oh, so you think they're guarding the dumbs?
Yeah. Like the outskirts. Well, think of it this way. If I want a guard dog, why am I going to use a normal dog that can be, I don't know, killed, fucked with, and, made to change its mind? But if I have something genetically modded that I can control, then I know that, from what you shared, I can put it together, right? I guess they control them in a way, or they use them as kind of like guard dogs.
That makes sense, but the problem that I have with that, and I have to look into it, so I won't say the problem. I would have to say I need to do more research because I'm not sure of where the dumb locations are. Do you know where the dumbs are located?
Pretty much the only thing I know about dumbs is that they're not all government. Some are privately owned, right? And, well, if you know, you know, right? Like the DuPonts. Who are the DuPonts? We know who the DuPonts are.
Yeah, I know who they are, yeah.
Yeah. I think it was either Tony Merkel or on Confessionals or Sean Graham. I don't remember who. But they had someone on that was on a military base that they kept seeing weird shit in the outskirts when they were out like on night watch. And then I kind of looked up where the little place was. It wasn't Raven Rock. It was some other one, Mississippi, I believe. And up the river or so, there's a DuPont plant. And that seemed weird to me. It's like, well, I know who the DuPonts are. And they have a plant close to where people see cryptids. That kind of stuff to me.
Wow. So maybe I need to get the dumbs location list and cross-reference it with my map. Because you might be on to something, bro.
Because I want to say, what's his name? He killed himself with his own catheter. What was his name? He's the one who broke the story about dumbs being real in the first place.
Oh, yeah, I forgot his name, but that was the guy who talked about the aliens. I thought they whacked him. He didn't kill himself. They whacked that dude, man.
Oh, hell no, he didn't kill himself. One police report said he was face down in his wheelchair, and the other said that he killed himself with his catheter. If you look at the photos, his face is purple, like he was face down for a while, because when you die, blood pools, gravity, obviously. Blood pools, and why was his head purple, but his feet weren't?
Right. No, it makes all the sense in the world.
Anyways, yeah, and then extrapolating data, right? I'm not sure if you saw the show that on Dogman Cam's the page on YouTube. He had a guest called on. He was just called Sancho. He was like a guy who worked with like shady people down south of the border. Mm-hmm. And he's the one like, oh yeah, they gave me this rag, and they said don't lose the fucking rag. Anything can happen, just don't lose the rag, or else these things are gonna get you. Or basically saying without saying. You know what I mean?
Wow. No, I don't know the guy. I'm familiar with it, but I don't know that guy.
No, I don't know the guy either, but I was just saying, like, putting two and two together, there's another guy that I know and that I follow, like, on social media named, it's called Ed's Manifesto. He's, like, an like, border cop or whatever on the Tijuana side, and he does a bunch of interviews of, like, EDC and, like, non-permissive environment stuff, and he got pretty open. He's like, oh, yeah, the cartels don't operate on their own. Like, they got help from, ABC agencies.
Oh,
And if
that's
we can
definitely true.
extrapolate data, yeah, that's obviously true, right? Because the new thing they do now is they fly drones and use the drones as like boom booms. You know what I'm talking about? Like RCXD type stuff.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's just stuff you see on the surface. What about the stuff you don't see, like the back end stuff, like the one train story with the special cargo that you put out, right? I can put two and two together. The stuff like that and stuff like cartel guys happen, same spheres, but they're obviously not going to tell us normies, normal surface folk, right? But to me, on the this is why I said that they might use them as guard dogs, because if they're using it supposedly, right, like the bad guys, the cartel, CG&J type stuff, if they're using them as guard dogs, keeping their area safe, why wouldn't our government share that tech with them, and then in turn can use the tunnels or whatever they use, right? I'm just saying, hypothetically
No, I
speaking.
mean I think your theory makes a lot of sense. I mean, I know someone I can call and ask about it. I can ask the guy who drove that train if there was anything. What? Because put it to you like this: this was the most interesting thing. He stopped telling me. So when I was vetting his story, and I said, "Hey, describe to me what the location was like when you got there and you got off the train." He refused to say any freaking thing. Like he didn't give me. If you notice in that story, I didn't give a detailed description of that at all because he refused to give any description. I'm talking about. Well, I said, what color were the bricks? Was it above ground, underground? He was like, I'm not telling you none of that shit. He said, I'm not saying none of that. No, I'm not saying any of that. So it may be that you are hitting the nail on the head, brother. But I know how to kind of find the back way into figuring it out.
Mhm.
We need to find out where the
Let
thumbs
me
are, and we can compare it to the map.
And then, let me just like put like again extrapolating data, putting two and two together. You also put out a story about some guys taking pregnant women across the desert being chased by dogmen. Well, what if they didn't have those scented rags and they're just cutting across because it's a shortcut? Not necessarily. Well, yeah, they're rival cartel, but it's a shortcut that they're not. Like they're not cool to cross in that area, so the dogmen chase and attack. Versus the other guy on Dogman Cam show named Sancho, he told something similar where they gave him the stuff. They're running, physically running, using their two legs to run through Dogman territory, and all they were doing was just keeping pace. Not growling, not really attacking them, not doing much. But I do remember he got warned, don't lose it. If you lose it, you're fucked. But I'm not sure if I can cuss. Sorry about that.
You're fine. You can cuss. I cuss all the time. Fuck, shit, ass. We fine. Don't worry about it.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, the scented rag thing, I gotta make a phone call on that. Like I didn't talk to that guy, so I'm Pancho. I'm not gonna say Pancho's not telling the truth. I just didn't talk to Pancho. I do know someone I could call about the scented rag. I don't know that it would. I guess it would make sense that if you have a rag, I don't know what kind of scent would be on it other than a dog man
Yeah,
scent, but
that's what I was thinking too. Like maybe they keep it in their like enclosures or whatever you'd even call it, and since you smell like them, they kind of leave you alone. I don't know. It's weird. Like there's a lot of things that like come up that seem like they might work, but I don't even know.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you make some good points though. I'll give you this though, Memo. I promise you,
Mhm.
sure enough, by Friday, I'm gonna go find the list because somebody in the chat just said there was a list of the locations. I'm gonna compare that list to my group of sightings. I can't compare it to anybody else's. And again, when I say that, I'm not saying anybody else's sightings aren't true. I just know my stuff is to be what it's to be,
Yeah, solid.
and we'll
Yeah.
see what that theory, if that theory holds any water. And that's why I like talking to you guys because at the end of the day, we just might stumble upon something so significant just by combining everything. We might have stumbled on something extremely significant, maybe even dangerous. But I'm gonna blame it on you. If they come to get me, I'm gonna tell them find you, bro.
Woo! That's okay. We got that Ephesians armor, right?
I'm gonna tell them he was riding in traffic. I know where he is. Go get him. Nah, I wouldn't do it to
Yeah,
you.
that's all good. So, yeah, like I said, we got that Ephesians armor.
Mm-hmm. You
Yep.
definitely got it.
All
Any
right,
other
man. I'm
thing?
almost home. Oh, actually, yeah. One more thing. Let me see a story that you brought up recently. It's kind of like the Steven Rogers stuff. Like that has me like hooked. I got a question though. Operation Black Sun, is that referencing like the Black Sun, like the Black Hole Sun, like Agartha type stuff, or like Inner Earth type stuff? Like,
No, it was based on them trying to do a mission during an eclipse. That's what it was.
Oh, okay. Because I'm thinking, wait, are they gonna go to the inner Earth? Is that for real too? Is that what
No,
he's gonna
no,
disclose now?
no. They were trying to do everything based around an eclipse, and that didn't go extremely well for him. You'll definitely hear all of that. I don't know if you've done the research, but I've told this to people 1,000 times. If you look up the names, Rusevich, Sorkin, you will find all these people, and it's probably even
Sorkin.
safer. Huh? You found Sorkin, huh?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I found Sorkin. He's well, never mind. I ain't say nothing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I found Sorkin just by using DuckDuckGo. Like anyone can find him. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, anybody can find him. Anybody can find his children. Anybody can find all that stuff. Here's the crazy thing. So,
Hmm.
and I had a guy I talked to like 2 weeks ago. He's like, I don't believe none of this stuff. And I'm like, dog, the exact same shit, the exact same people that's in this story are a lot of the people who are doing things around the world right now that's fucking with the whole world. And I was like, and they were telling me this years ago, like these dudes got plans to fuck with everybody on the planet. And I'm like, y'all tripping,
Yeah.
man, and I couldn't, my mind couldn't wrap
You
around
don't
what
want
they
to
were
believe
saying.
it. Yeah, you don't want to believe it, but no, this is the truth.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, I know exactly what you mean, bro. Another quick one, real quick. What was it? What was it? What was it? Oh man, I lost my train of thought. I hate when it's happening. What was along the same lines? It was You know anything about the 20 and backs, like the 20 and back stuff, like supposedly, like let's say you're 10 years old, you go on a field trip because you're like in a special and gifted and talented thing. You get taken on a field trip and you get sent to God knows where for 20 years. They put your ass to work. You're basically an MK Ultra slave. And somehow, some way, they put you back within 10 minutes of them taking you. And you go back home as if nothing happened. But now you're a tired child. You're depressed. You have all these vices now. You don't know where the hell they came from. And supposedly it's because you've already lived 20 years and they put you back in a child's body. You know anything about that? Heard anything about that? No, like, you know what I mean?
nah,
20
I
and back.
never heard anything about that. Where you got that one from?
There's a guy named Corey Good. Supposedly, he was one of the people put through the program. There's another, like I said, this is weird because I've looked into it and a lot of stuff makes sense. A lot of it kind of connects, and to me, it lines up with biblical prophecy. It'd be like the unfruitful works of darkness because supposedly what they do is they take kids, they MK Ultra the shit out of them, and now you have like government shooters. And for a fact, we know there are government shooters. You know, like ain't no false flag that happen naturally.
Yeah, I'm 100% positive there's an MK Ultra program. The documents were released on that. The whole Corey Good thing and them taking children, I don't know. I have no clue. I've never looked into it. I've heard of Corey Good. I've never heard of Corey Good in a positive light, but mainly that's because the guy that I listened to, him and Corey Good got beef. But I've never been attracted to the whole Corey Good thing. I think I may have listened to one video of Corey Good's like a couple of years ago, but I don't know. I'll tell you this: I don't put anything past technology wise. I don't put anything past the capability of what we would call like the deep state or the people who have that run the world. I don't put anything past their technological abilities. I think they can do things that are just insane, completely and
Yeah,
totally
that's
insane.
true. Like all us people that know, right? They know that originally they were getting it from mystics like Maria Orsic. That's who the Nazis got their tech from. It's literally a magician named Maria Orsic. She's a woman that lived, and she's the one who's like, oh yeah, she's scrying, she's doing all these things and saying this is the schematics to the bell, you know, and shit like that. I mean, that's kind of what I've read, kind of what I've seen, you know. And if you can believe that God spoke everything into existence, how can you not believe that there's also magic and they use magic to get schematics for shit? You know what I mean?
Oh, well, there's definitely magic. We already know there's magic. Biblically, we know there's magic because there were people in the
Yeah.
Bible who went to go visit uh, female magicians and psychics, and then they got punished for
With the
dealing with the
rainbow.
psychics. So we know it's real. I'm not. That's definitely real. I'm just trying to.
Mhm.
The whole. The answer to your question is I've never heard of it, but I wouldn't say I don't believe it either. I believe it's possible. You know what I'm saying? And that would be my generic answer there. I think anything is possible at this point in time. If you told me they had a freaking alien drop down in Times Square and 1,000 people saw it, but then it disappeared, I'd be like, all right, I gotta believe it until I'll take it with a grain of salt, but I'm gonna believe it. Then I'm gonna talk to somebody and figure out what the hell happened. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you, man. Along the lines with that, supposedly you go, you're well, we know in Ultra they put demonic shit in there with them. Like that's the altars, right? That's like the famous people, and they see them changing and whatnot. Well, there's a man named Russ Dizdar, and he's the one who's supposedly deprogramming them. He's a Christian, right? And he's like saying, like, look, you weren't out there, you were demonized, you were, XYZ, And when they realize that they've been in the 20 and backs or whatever program they were in, their mind kind of breaks, because it's like everything comes front to the front. Every horrible thing that you were forced to witness or do comes to the front. You remember it all, and now you're tormented. Well, who sets you free? The Lord Most High, Yeshua. And I don't know. To me, that's kind of, I don't even know how to describe it, man. I like to read my Bible, and what I get when I read it, it's kind of, I don't know, they're not visions. It's kind of like in my mind what I imagine. And it all fits. Like, it'd be like the unfruitful works of darkness. That's like all the dumbs, all the genetic BS that they're doing, all the poison in the food, poison in the air, poison in the water. That's all the unfruitful works of darkness, along with like wanting to be a part of it. When the Lord says, don't be a part of it, well, it's easy. Don't be a part of it,
No, I agree with you totally. And as far as people being demonized, I ran into that so many times, bro. Um, it's crazy because prior to doing kind of the Dark Waters thing, I ran into people who were demonized, and I would always think, okay, this dude is freaking weird. Like, but after I got a greater understanding of what demonization looks like and how people behave, like I ran into a guy in the grocery store when I was in Texas, and that dude was purely demonized. I mean, pure. Like he looked at me in the eye, and his face kind of twitched, and he grunted, and he was like, "How did he say it?" He said, "Oh, so you're one of those Christians?" And I had never said nothing to this dude. Like imagine you walking down an aisle, and I'm from New Orleans, so I speak to everybody. Like, and I go to Texas, like they don't speak. I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" Because that's just my personality. And he kind of grunts, and he's like, "You're one of those Christians." I'm like, "Whoa, something inside of you, bro. Let me go the other way, get away from you." Um, but I've seen that 1,000 times, literally 1,000 times. I've seen it here in New Orleans a lot, a whole lot. So as far as someone, none of that stuff. I say all that to say, none of that is a stretch to me. The person
Yeah.
going through a program like that, becoming demonized, none of that's a stretch. Even people who've been like demonized to where the demon can actually take over, they're possessed.
Kind of fun, yeah.
They
Yeah.
do things, and then once they come out of that possession, they remember the things that they've done, and they just can't deal with it. So I can only
Yeah.
imagine if you're a kid or someone that's been brainwashed, it's got to be rough.
Yeah. That sucks. All right, man. Well, yeah, that's pretty much it for now. I do plan on calling in on future shows. I'm a huge fan, bro. I've been a fan since pretty much Locket Ranch, a little bit before that. I remember back when you were doing the robot voice and all that still.
Oh yeah, you from the beginning, man. You know those robot voices stories was raw, dude. People told me that was too raw. Like those are the
Oh, those
real.
were, yeah, man. Like, those are something. For some reason, they caught my attention, and I've always stuck around. You tell the truth, man. Like, to me, it's truth. Like, from what I've seen, from what I've read, from pretty much what I've experienced, they ring true to me. At least 90% of them do.
I'll take a 90%. That's an A. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, brother. Well,
Yeah.
I appreciate you, man. Call back anytime, Memo.
Hey, sounds good, man. I'll probably keep an ear out on the stream, but thanks for letting me call in, and tell everyone I said what's up.
I will. All right.
Later, man.
Later. Uh-oh, what happened now? All right, we got it back. Sean, I'm going to need you to explain to me how to get this thing to stop making that woo-woo sound when people hang up, because you've mastered using Skype on this. Sean is a master, baby. He's a master. I'm so happy with Sean Graham. He's a master. Yes, guys, I think we should look into the whole deep underground military bases. Inherently, DUMS is deep underground military base, but I guess they definitely would have private underground bases, not military bases, but private underground bases. We know that they're very wealthy people with their own private underground bunkers. I mean, it might be some truth to that. It really, really might be some truth to that. So I am going to take a look at that. Normally, I'm going to just make a mental note so my brain stays strong instead of writing anything down. And let me write it on a piece of paper in my mind. There it is. Let me file that away over there. And boom, it's there. It won't go anywhere. You'll be amazed at the techniques I use to remember people's stories. One of these days, I'm going to break that stuff down. Your brain, your mind is so powerful if you understand how to use it visually. Instead of hearing words, if you see pictures, when you hear words, you convert them to pictures in your brain, in your mind naturally. But if you make that extremely vivid, you will never forget anything. You won't forget anything. But it's something you have to practice. All right, 504-354-0143. I missed 2 phone calls while I was talking to Memo. So call back if you want, and we can get it popping, going to the next call. But I really, really want to look into that deep underground military base theory. And Memo, I'm gonna give you credit for whatever I find. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like Memo's deep underground military base Dogman theory. If it pans out, if it does pan out, again, the only hindrance would be if we can find a list of those locations. Inherently, they should be a secret. But if they're not, then I don't know. I guess they don't need to be a secret. Who the hell is going to roll up on one of them and get their head chopped off? You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, it's there. Let's see. Somebody says they're used to Rumble because YouTube bites. Yeah. YouTube acts funny sometimes. Super Soldiers versus 144,000, the most highest warriors. I think we'll win that one. 20 and back is the name. Okay, so 20 and back is the name of the video by Corey Good. I'll check it out tonight, guys. And see what's going on. So like, Vote. What's up, Vote? Vote.
What's going on?
Not much, man. What's happening with you?
Oh, nothing much. I just wanted to call in and get the people stirred up about the Dogman Camps project, too. I went and did a video today, tried to carry them in the woods with me, but, you know, I live out in the sticks, and that didn't go so well. It kind of broke up a little bit, but it's down there where the camera is pointed at. I carried them in there to show them how the stuff has been laid back down in front of that camera. I said, just trying to get this stuff out. You piqued my interest on the underground base thing. I didn't know you was into that.
Who, me? I'm not into that. Memo is into that. He just brought it to my attention. I never really thought about it.
Well, I'm gonna give y'all food for thought then. Most people don't know about this, but that there's even a base nowhere even up there. And the other thing is, if you go to a topographical map, this area is blacked out on the map. That's paper maps, Google Earth, whatever you go to. Look up the largest mountain in Alaska.
The largest mountain in Alaska?
Yep. And start there. If you need some reference, have you ever heard of the Black Pyramid?
No.
Type in Google Black Pyramid, Alaska. It's in what they call the Alaskan Triangle, and that'll give some people some stuff. And I know for a fact there is an underground base there.
Black Pyramid, Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
I am looking because I've never heard of the Black Pyramid. Yep.
A lot of people hadn't.
Yep, there's a Black Pyramid.
So this is one of the things we and you hadn't even talked about.
That's crazy.
And what's the craziest thing is who runs that base is not that, it's a military base, but it's all run by private military.
Oh, really?
So like I said, I know the base exists. That's where actually they would take some of the people from Project the one where they did the remote viewing. Oh crap, what was it called? Project.
I know the one you're talking about. I don't know the name of it.
I can't think of the name of it either, but later on I'll send it to you. But I'm pretty sure somebody in the comments will know what I'm talking about. A lot of people were took there because it's such an isolated place. And that's where they did a lot of their remote viewing from. The other thing is you had to be invited to this base to go there. Like I said, what the funniest thing is, if you pull up a paper map topographical map of Alaska, and look, there's an area on the map that is mapped out that says unsurveyed. You put up Google Earth, it's blacked out. Like I said, it is the largest mountain range. It's the largest mountain in Alaska. It's not hard to find.
Wow. I'm definitely going to look that up. So there's
Well, like I
definitely
said, I just wanted.
privately run underground bases. They're not all
Oh
military
yeah.
run.
No, it was developed, put in by the military, but when you go there, there's stories that have come out of there of like there's one where the school teacher up in Alaska, he was ex-military and he was on a chopper because people don't realize up in Alaska it's easier to get around by either bush plane, helicopter. Driving sometimes you're talking about as far as it is, in the land, it will take you 15 hours to go from one place to the other. So they fly a lot. Well, they were taking this ex-school teacher, he was a school teacher at the time, caught a ride with some of his old military buddies that were still active. And they're like, well, we got to go up here to a mountain. I'm not going to say the mountain. That way we can't get in trouble. I just gave people where to go look at. But we got to go drop some stuff off up at the base up here. And he's like, I didn't know there was a base up there. He said, well, it's in the need to know. So they fly in, they land in a designated area out there, and all it is a shack with a 12-foot chain link fence and a razor barbed wire that faces out around that shack. And what you do is you actually open, when you go over there, you have to Ponum code the lock and type in a number, and the door will open. And as soon as you walk in, there's stairways that start going like in a 45-degree angle straight down. And you go for several floors down. Then there it comes to an area where there's two guards by some elevator doors, and you go get in the elevator if they allow you to get in the elevator or whatever. And then you go on further down in the elevator. Several more floors. And depending on where you're going, you get off at a certain floor. But he was talking about they landed there, and what was odd, he thought, was when the guys come up to get the equipment out, they weren't even allowed to get off the chopper. People came to the chopper, got their equipment off if they needed, and carried it back. He said they were wearing all black, no insignia uniforms.
Wow.
Anybody that's ever been in the military knows exactly what that means. I don't care what branch you're in. The only time you go no insignia is when you're going into a place that you're not supposed to be. Called plausible deniability.
Right.
But these were, well, I said that's a story that people can go look up. I actually talked to not the school teacher, but I talked to his son that the school teacher told the story to, and there was no reason for him to make up the story. And not too long after that, I actually got to go towards that mountain. I'm not going to say I went to the mountain, but anyway. Well, I said it's the largest private military in the world that guards that place. That's just one of them. There's one at Mount Shasta. There's one that one's known. The one at Mount Shasta, it was private. I mean, it was hidden for a long time, but then it was out. There's actually, me and Sean have talked about it. There's one he didn't realize that was over close to where he lives. It's a private military complex underground over there, not too far from Sean.
Well,
Sean may kill me now for.
We definitely gonna have to look into Memo's theory, because if that's the case, there's a significant amount of activity in the area, or well, in the state where Sean is.
We were just talking about that. Me and Sean were just talking about that because I kind of let the cat out of the bag the other night on my show. What me and you were talking about. If we get enough subscribers to the Dogman Cams project, I'm actually going to go put a camera in the LBL.
Oh,
and
yeah,
Sean was
definitely.
Yeah, like, yep. And Sean was like, I keep hearing about that. I said, look, the LBL actually covers more area than what people think, but no one has ever put a live feed camera anywhere in the LBL, ever. And we have access to private land that's in the LBL, so like I said, we'll have the first camera. We've got to first get the subscribers over there. And I talked to D-Doss earlier, and he said he's fixing to start releasing some shows, and I'm glad to hear that. I'm going to get one more camera up on my place, and me and you talked about 2 other places we're wanting to put, but those are to be named later. Dude, I like hearing you back on the live streams. This brings me back to old times.
Oh yeah, yeah. But you know, I'm more comfortable live talking to people than anything. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
This is
yeah.
my comfort zone.
Well, but you were the first person that started out taking live calls, first person to ever put up a number, and then Sean got to doing it, and like I said, that's the thing. When people call in, you have no idea what they're going to call and what they're going to say. There's no prescript, there's no way to vet them or nothing else. So you have no idea what they're going to say.
No, absolutely.
And most people,
no idea.
and the thing is, most people want to hold you responsible for somebody coming on telling a story. It's like, no, you can't do that. They had a chance to call in just like you do. But they're scared. That's why other channels won't do that. It's because they're scared to do that. Because, like I said, you got to be really good and on your toes to do a live call-in show. And I give you and Sean props for that. So I was going to do a show actually later tonight and talk about the video I put up today.
Awesome.
So,
what time you going to do that?
Yes,
Because I'm on for another hour. What time you going on?
probably 30 minutes after you go off, I'm going to put up a live stream.
Okay,
like I said, I told people I was back. Hey, I told people I was back hot and heavy, and so the only way to come hot and heavy is to put your stuff out there.
Yeah, and then for those of you guys who don't know, so Vault was the very first person that that I started working with on YouTube. Well, actually, it was Lon, then was Vault, but Vault had a channel. I think the channel had like 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 subscribers. That channel ended up getting hacked by the Hot Pockets. So we're building his channel back up. So if you haven't subscribed over at the Vault of Nightmares channel, he's going to post that link in the description. Most of you guys who are listening now probably have and are familiar, but this video will get 7,000 to 9,000, hopefully 10,000 views. Later on, for those of you who are listening, because a lot of people listen afterwards, go ahead on over to the Vault of Nightmares channel. The chat will replay while you're watching the video, and you can see the right link to it and head on over. In fact, I'll just put that link in the description. That way you can head on over and you can subscribe.
Man, I appreciate it. And yeah, we're trying to build. We're rebuilding the Vault of Nightmares channel. Like I said, the people at YouTube and Google, that's the craziest thing. They can't even get into it to take it down. So whoever did it did a terrific job of it. All you do is light a fire under me to do even more and tell stuff that I hadn't been telling before. Show stuff that, like in the video I put up today, I showed people. Most of the time, people will walk right by tracks. They don't know what to look for. That's some of the stuff I started pointing out today. I showed people what ghosting in the woods is. The way most people walk through the woods and the way I walk through the woods is what we call ghosting. You can't tell that I've ever stepped foot in there. These cryptids can do the same thing. They can be on top of you before you know it. That's why DW won't go in the woods with me. But
well, I know what's in the woods. That's why I'm not going in the woods. Like people, I'm not curious about what's there. I know what's there.
Well, what the curious thing is, like I said, I thought these things were gone because I hadn't heard anything out of them in like 2 days. So I thought it was okay to go down in there and not, tee them off or whatever. While I'm in there, I catch movement of 2 different things in 2 different areas. I start backing out. As I back out and I stop long enough to talk to people and to show them more, of how they've been pushing the stuff, angling the vegetation over towards the camera so they can sit behind and hide. I start getting sticks thrown at me while I'm live, and you can see the sticks coming from the left of me through the woods, hitting the trees, and then falling down.
Wow.
So, Well, man, I appreciate you being on. Let me come on here. Y'all need to call in. We want to hear some more stories. Like I'm with you. The guy that just called in, he put a lot of food for thought. And like I said, I never had thought about talking to you about the bases and stuff. Like I said, 90% of the people know nothing about the base I talked about just in Alaska. There's several more that are around that we'll have to. What I'll do is I'll get together a map of ones that I know. I won't put the actual area, but just general, and that way we can actually do it. That'd be cool to do a show on that. Why are
Man,
these bases still here? Why are these bases so secretive?
I ain't talking about them damn bases. I don't give a damn about them bases. And I don't want no smoke with the people on them bases. The hell with them damn bases. So y'all be trying to push the envelope too far and getting the shit y'all need to get into. I ain't trying to be.
Hey, you
I ain't
know
about to be
me. I get myself.
arcing sided around here fucking around with them bases, man.
I got one. While we're on while we're on the air, this is when I tell people I get myself in stupid situations, and it's easy to get in stupid situations. When I come down there and went looking for your camera and went off in there. The next morning, I told people that I got visited by several different law enforcement agencies. Come to find out, it had nothing to do with hunting cryptids. I'm not going to say what it had to do with, but
I
like I said, for
told
the
your
people
ass
that
not to
don't
go
know.
back up in there. You wanted to go up in there. I had said, leave that
But that's
goddamn
how.
camera alone.
Well, like I said, like I said, that's the craziest thing. It had nothing to do with. And I called DW, and I'm like, dude, this don't make no sense because when the FBI and stuff showed up and started talking to me, they acted like they really didn't want to have. They weren't wanting to be there, and then when we found out what was going on, it made more sense. But yeah, but all because I was going. What did the guy tell me that I called up north? You hunting them damn woolly buggers? See what the shit you done got yourself into again? They call them woolly buggers.
Yeah, man. I told you
But
not to go back. I knew that camera was gone though. I knew it
but
because
see, when DW tells y'all, hey, look, you put these coordinates out. That tell you you go on your own risk. There's no telling what you're going. It ain't just the cryptids you got to worry about. It's other things like people. You don't know who's done set up in that area. You don't know what's going on. It's not just the cryptids, and like I said, it's crazy. You can get yourself in a crazy situation without even knowing it. And when I say crazy, DW can tell you, I got escorted out of Louisiana by 3 highway patrolmen.
yep, messing around trying to go find some damn camera. That I told you leave alone.
Well, I'm hard headed anyway, but man, I appreciate it. Hey, somebody else call in and get some more because this is how things get brought to light. Like I said, I had never thought about the bases and stuff before. Cause I didn't think nobody really cared about it, but that gives me an idea for a show because I don't care if all they can do is fuss at me.
Absolutely. They get a little bit more than a fuss at me. That's why I'm gonna leave that hell alone. All right, man. Well, I'll catch up with you. We got people calling in. We got a couple. We had about
All right.
5 calls while you were talking, so we'll take the next one.
All right, yeah, y'all call back in now.
All right.
And go like because we ain't got enough likes in here yet. There's 300 people watching and ain't but 150 likes. So go like.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Later. I don't understand the whole not liking thing. Maybe it's just some hate, but it is what it is. Let's take the next caller. This is Dark Waters. What's going on? What's your name and where you calling from?
What's up, Dark Waters? This is Chase, riding through, I don't know, Arizona, I think.
You say you don't know where the hell you at, huh? You must be truck driving.
No, yeah. Yes, sir, absolutely.
I love you guys. I love my truck drivers, bro. You guys drive me crazy on the website because y'all get timed out every 2 days, but I love you guys. You guys are amazing. How's everything going for you, brother?
Hey, man, I'm blessed by the best.
I like that. What's your thoughts tonight? What's on your mind?
Well, I tell you what, man, I'm gonna take this a little deep. I feel like you the dude to go to this with. All right, let's say this discussion is Dogman, right? Let's say let's say all this stuff, that everything's headed in a direction. People that can see it, right?
Right.
And let's say we stop having certain access due to certain, things that we are needed to require to keep on us to have access to those things, right?
Okay, so we
Which is,
can't fishing rods.
yeah,
We'll call them
biblical
fishing
prophecy.
rods. So let's say we can't have fishing
Sure,
rods
sure,
anymore.
fishing
Okay.
rod. No fishing rod. Yeah, no fishing rods, stuff like that. So, all that stuff kind of lines right up with a lot of biblical stuff. And if you're the type of person that view it in that light, these creatures also have a biblical role, from how they got here, which most people that, dig deep in, we kind of know, there's a strong possibility that you have ones that were, what I guess what people call chimeras that are, descendants, whatever. But let's say that when these events happen, people are going to take to rural areas and woods and stuff like that, right?
Right.
When this process happens, and I know somebody on here is going to be crazy, but let's say a lot of the brothers and sisters out there that may not know how to function real well in the woods. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of brothers out there that they don't know how to hunt, camp, things like that, right? But they're going to be forced to go into these rural areas and
Right.
live in the woods and whatnots, right? Would you view that as something that was very similar that happened in the Bible, where we went into a mass exodus, right? So there was a hedge of protection that was promised to be put around the Israelites, correct?
Absolutely.
Which if anybody actually reads the Bible, they'll kind of know who these Israelite people are. And that's the people that's been through Deuteronomy chapter 28. It's in these curses.
Right.
You should know who they are. If you've read that, it's clear as a bell. So with those brothers and sisters that are forced to be in this environment that they know nothing of, right? Obviously, there's going to be a hand of the Most High that's going to put upon these brothers. Do you think that the ones of these creatures that were modified or have been able to be programmed are obviously possibly going to be turned on the people? You know what I mean?
Let me unpack that, because that's a lot you just said. So let's unpack it. All right.
Okay.
So this hinges on a total societal collapse, right? That societal collapse being predicted by the Bible, where people flee out into the woods. We look like we're headed in that direction, absolutely. And we're actually, the direction we're looking at is we're looking like we're headed into a direction of two parallel societies. And I'm not sure if we're going to actually get to that. I wish I could explain more why I don't know. I don't think we're going to get to the point where you're talking about. I just think we're going to have some rough times that are extremely bad. But let's just go with your thought process and say we get to that point. I think that at the end of the day, the promise of God, people call the Most High, Yeshua, Jesus, El Shaddai, whatever name you want to call God by, I think that promise would cover everyone. Now, to specifically talk about when we start touching into the whole Dogman issue, you touched on something very significant. You talked about the genetically modified ones. Those are the ones that I would tell you are nothing but more than empty vessels.
Yeah.
And those vessels can be occupied by something. And I say those things are spirits. So if we go down through that road and in that scenario, first of all, you got to get rid of the fishing rods, which I think is going to be nearly impossible to get rid of the fishing rods. I don't care what nobody says. I don't see that happening. Ain't nobody getting rid of my fishing rods. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
If you come, I'm going to die in the process of you getting my fishing rod, so I'm not going to have to worry about Dogman. I know a lot of people who feel that way. So, but let's assume that happened. So now we got a bunch of people wandering around in the woods who, and you're 100% right about them not knowing what the hell to do in the woods and how to hunt and how to gather. Could I see a scenario where creatures like that come in? Yes. There could be a scenario where people are picked off, kind of similar to what's going on right now. But in massive numbers, no. Now, I do know in the Bible it talks about the beasts of the field will be turned against the people.
Right.
I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen now. But I could see a scenario where something like that happens. But so many things have to transpire to get to that point that I just don't see transpiring. Like everything we're dealing with right now has to do with the CCP and their move against America, and what they're trying to do here in our country. And as more and more people tend to wake up, which is what they're doing now, that's failing dramatically for them, and only pissing off a hell of a lot of Americans. It's pissing off some badass motherfuckers right now. So I'm not sure we're gonna get to that point. But if we did go down your train of thought, I could see it happening if all the pieces fell in place. I could definitely see it happening. I could definitely see people being picked off here and there. But I believe that those who believe in Christ, I know for a fact, let me put it like this, I know for a fact that those things have been rebuked, not the spiritual ones, the flesh and blood, what you can smell, you can see the saliva coming off their teeth. They have been, rebuked in the name of Jesus Christ, and they have turned around and went away. I know that for a fact. I was on the phone with one person when one was at their window, and the lady rebuked it, and I said, what the hell happened? She said, it left. And I was like, whoa, that's deep. She still don't want her whole story told, and she has one of the most dramatic, frightening Dogman encounters there are, but she doesn't want it told because she doesn't want to deal with the BS that comes along with talking about the topic. So,
right.
I think you definitely got some points there. It's just that everything has to fall apart for us to get to that point. And if, for example, as far as the fishing rods are concerned, if they could have taken the fishing rods, they've already taken them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they've been trying. They tried They tried prior to the last president to try to take the fishing rods for 8 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They had all the mass shootings, mass killings, and they still here. You know what I'm saying? They passed all the laws. We're gonna get rid of this, get rid of that, and they still here. People not about to get that up. They're not.
Yeah.
I mean, that's you get into a bad situation trying to get them rods from people. You know what I'm saying?
I know that's right. I love fishing. Let me tell you.
Let me ask you a question. What's the strangest thing you've seen out on the road? It don't have to be cryptid. It could be anything. It could be crackheads. It could be prostitutes. What's the strangest thing you've seen?
All right, man.
You with the stumbling one.
Well, all right.
Don't say nothing gonna get you in trouble, man.
There's a bunch of them, man. I mean, I don't know what you consider trouble, bro. I saw a when I was all right, man. This happens only in Atlanta, Georgia. I swear to God, man. So I'm a.
I already know.
Yeah, man. Dude, I had two situations. One a while back and one recent that was really funny. But I delivered a load and I stopped for a second to mess with my clock, man. And I started seeing all the streetwalkers and the zombies and whatnot. You know, that's normal. I'm used to that. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, so I see that a lot. No big deal. But I swear, man, I had to take a double look on this. I saw a 7 foot when you know the letter people, the number T or the letter T. I saw a 7 foot number T, a letter T, man. I ain't never seen nothing like it. Bony legs, short shorts, the whole 9 yards, man. And I'm telling you, right next to another letter T, I guess, and that thing had to be like 4.5 foot, 5 foot. So it was just a funny combination. You know what I'm saying? Like walking around trying to talk to people. It was wild. I don't know. That was wild to me. I don't know. That blew my mind. But another time I was in Atlanta here recently, I pulled in, same thing. I was deep in one of them areas. And there was a BP on my right that was open, and across the street was the one that was closed. You know, it had like beds around it and stuff, whatever. But there was another truck over there, and where I had to deliver my load was like literally 2 blocks away. So I'm like, let me just stay here next to this other truck. And I pull in, and this guy's like walking towards me, and I'm like, I'm like looking at him. You know, I got my fishing pole in my hand, and I'm looking at him. And I see he's coming directly to my door, and he's waving at me. So I'm like, all right, he's cool. And I look, and I see my side door open on the little compartment where, you know, you keep your little oils and whatnot in. Right. So I'm like, oh, well, this guy obviously, he must be about to close the door for me. He probably just being nice or whatever. Dude, and he gets to the point at the door where you can't see him no more. And this dude, my door, I don't know how it was open, but it was unlocked. I thought it was locked. He just opens my door. Like, hey man, and I done pulled my fishing pole on him that quick. And dude, he didn't even blink an eye, didn't even jump back, whoa, nothing. He just literally was like, yo, my bad, bro. I thought you needed something. I'm like, nah, I don't need nothing. Close my effing door. And like he closes it. So I get out of my truck and I got my fishing pole in my pants so he can clearly see it. And I walk over there and I close my door and I look at him and he's looking at me and I'm like, yo, come here. And like he comes over. I'm like, listen, man, I don't care what you're doing, okay? I don't care, man. You know, just make sure you don't come or touch my truck, man. And he was like, oh, yeah, no problem, bro. I ain't even sweat you, man. I tell you what, I'll watch your truck for you. Won't nobody touch your truck. And I'm like, hey, man, I appreciate that. And I'm like I said, I don't give a damn what you're doing over here. Oh, no, it ain't no big deal, man. My bad on opening the door. I thought you wanted some hard. And I'm like, nah, man. I'm like, these truckers be buying that every day. I'm like, all right, God, dog. But, yeah, that just happened, so I thought that was kind of funny.
Nah, that's funny, dude. That's the kind of stuff that happens when y'all out there on the road, man. I've heard some crazy stories.
Yeah, man. I be talking to truckers now, so I've been called on Sean's show a few times. I collect little stories and stuff, like from when I ride around. I always start talking to people and trying to get some good stories. The people that I can tell have the good stories, it's like there's not enough time to really like talk with them to get it out of them, and half the time they refuse. Like I think I talked to one guy. He was like a retired from, I don't know what kind of agency he worked for. It was one like a private contractor type of agency, and dude, he was like he would hint to stuff that he's seen, but he would never come off of it. Mm-hmm. And then it's just those type of people that you know that's got something juicy. They really don't want to come off of it, even if they know they're good to go to talk to you. So everybody else, you know, they just half of them shot out. Yeah. But they be, you know, truckers, they talk, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can get around. You get a lot of good information, and I just need to have more time to talk to folks, man. When you're on this road, especially lately, I ain't had time to breathe.
I think I'm going to start marketing to truckers. I did it for a little while to get stories, and I didn't keep it up because I got more success with marketing these little small newspapers in these small towns. I think I'm going to go ahead and market the truckers again to get some of you guys' stories, because the ones I've talked to, man, they got some wild stuff. It's cryptids, it's all kind of crazy stuff, man.
Your boy Tony Merkel just released a show on a trucker and Bigfoot. He had a great story, man.
Yeah, that's
for sure. Yeah, Tony's awesome, man. You can tell he's like a real kind-hearted guy. Man, listen here. I'm waiting for this. I'm waiting for his story to come out, man. Because I feel like he got the wake-up call. He got the Dogman wake-up call, didn't he?
Well, he definitely. They definitely experienced some strange stuff, man, while they were out there. A whole bunch of strange stuff. You know, squirrels barking at them, birds chirping, then everything went quiet and stuff moving. But Tony, I'm gonna let Tony tell it, because he told me the whole story while he was driving back, and I was literally laying on the ground laughing in my house, because Tony's crazy, dude. People don't understand. Tony is like crazy for real, but he good people, but he is wild.
Yeah.
All right, brother, I'm going to let you go, and I'm going to try and fix this sound, because I don't think your sound is going out. I think you're being picked up by my headset. I'm going to let you go. I'm going to try and fix the sound, Chase.
All right. All right,
Thanks
brother. Be blessed.
Brother. All right, bye.
Yes, sir.
Give me 1 second, guys. Let me try and fix this real quick, because something's going on, and it ain't going the way I want it to. It ain't going the way I want it to. Just need a second. Let's try this. Oh, that sucks. That didn't work. That might be doing it. Alright, where's the thing? Call right back. I'm sorry. Like I'm bugging. I thought this was working right. Worked right last time. This time it's working wrong. Show me some love, baby. What you doing? This is what happens when you mess with stuff, and you shouldn't be messing with it. Hey, this is Dog Waters. Who am I speaking with?
Brother Dark Waters, how you doing? My name is Mark, calling you from Las Vegas, Nevada.
Ooh, Mark, what's up, player? I know some OGs in Vegas, man. Y'all got them out there, boy.
Well, what's going on, brother? Well, first of all, it's a pleasure to finally talk to you. But I have some land in Mississippi, brother. I have 127 acres there, and it's sort of close to Taylor, Mississippi. You know, and I'm there every January. You know, I'm doing some hunting stuff with my son. But what's going on? There's been some wild dog attacks. Like my mom, she's a missionary, and she always tells me stories. But there was a guy. You can actually pull these stories up. There was a guy who was a wild dog attack close to her home in Carthage, Mississippi. But what really got my attention, she had like a Christian school down there. And one of her teachers was attacked by wild dogs and killed. So that's what really got me tripping. I'm like, imagine trying to tell an older black woman these type of things that I'm watching what's possibly going on. There's no get due to her, you know. So that's just a little brother. So that's where we at with it. Yeah, definitely.
There, have you experienced anything out all while you were out there?
Well, I'm going to be completely honest. I'm hunting only 7 days a week out of the year, and I'm not down there long enough to experience anything crazy. I mean, it's just the woods, you know what I'm saying? I'm only hunting, like I said, 7 days out of the year. But I'm hearing, I'm definitely in the heart of creepy wood territory. You know what I'm saying? You can definitely feel the creepiness in the area. And once I start hearing these random dog attack stories, that threw me for a loop. And then when I'm listening to your show and other things here in Taylor, and I look on the news, I look on the map, and see Taylor's not far from my land. My land is in Lee County, Mississippi, Carthage, Mississippi. And we're not far from Taylor, you know?
And you thinking that it's definitely had, when you say wild dog attacks, like, are we talking about people maimed? What kind of stuff?
You can look it up. There was 2 people killed. There was some guy riding mountain bikes, and he was killed by wild dogs close to my mom's house. And then when her teacher was killed, the teachers at her Christian school, by wild dogs, when she calls me and tells me that, I'm just like, what? I'm like, come on, you've been down there 40 years. When have you heard of wild dog attacks? And there's 2 kind of recent. I don't know. You know, it just kind of throwing me off. You know.
It would be something wild like that. Taylor is a wild place, man, when it comes to Dogman, and it's amazing because I don't talk about them. There's case after case after case. There's boat attacks. There's bicyclists that were attacked. There's all kind of stuff that happens within the 250-mile radius of that place. It's really wild. But it's good you didn't experience anything and nothing bad happened to you. You know what I'm saying?
Well, one thing I have found on my land is there's a guy that has cattle next to my land, and I'll find skeletons deep in my land. You know what I'm saying? Like deep. You know, like it takes me almost 40 minutes to walk through through how thick this land is to get to where we'll find skeletons every year of bulls and cows back up in my land from this guy's land next to me, you know? So that's kind of strange to me, you know?
Wow. That's
I mean, deep up in the land, like, you know what I'm saying?
But you've never been out there and the woods went quiet, no strange smells, no eerie feelings, nothing like that?
Well, I'm going to be completely honest with you, Darkwater. My land is so thick and dark that you're not going to venture far into this land past your home. You know what I'm saying? To be completely honest, you're not gonna do much venturing into those woods at night. To be honest, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, I'm not gonna
You ain't
say
playing
I've
none of
been
them
in the
games, huh?
yeah, no, completely. And I'm hunting down there. I have a 458 SOCOM that I'm hunting with down there. I'm hunting with a big bore, AR style rifle. But I'm a city boy. I'm not running around in those woods at night.
No, I don't blame you. I don't play none of that woods in the dark at night unless I absolutely have to. And if I'm doing that,
Yeah,
I'm
all
doing
this
it with some
stuff was
people that know what they're doing. You know what I'm saying?
right. This stuff was inherited. All this stuff was inherited. So I don't really know. I'm just trying to keep it going.
No, I'm with you. I'll go fishing at night though. I ain't got no problem with being on the boat in the middle of the night. But I ain't playing around. But if I'm on the boat, which I've been on the boat in the swamps in the middle of the night doing fishing, I'm always telling them, look, bruh, they be like, we gonna fish against the banks. No, we not. No. Move out. We gonna cast to the banks. We not about to get close to the banks. We gonna cast over there. We ain't getting all
Right.
close. I've been shrimping at night. And they're like, we got to get close to the bank. Hell, we gonna leave them shrimp over there. We gonna they'll be all right. We'll get the other ones. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I'm just trying to figure out how do you kind of. I can't convince my mom and my grandmother that it's a possibility of something that you know what I'm saying. I'm just telling them to be careful when you're going from your car to your vehicle at night. Be vigilant. I brought my mother a sidearm that I want her to keep on her whenever she's moving around down there. But it's what I'm saying. It's kind of hard to convince people of this type of thing, the possibility of this type of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Well, how are you explaining it to her? What are you saying?
I'm telling her I'm explaining when I go down to her. I'll actually pull up some of you guys' channels, and I'll explain to her. Listen, we right next to Louisiana, and I kind of explain to her the history of the Lugaroo and all that. And then when I showed her Taylor, and I showed her the Taylor story, and I actually showed her the news clipping, that kind of caught her attention a little bit. But you know how women are, especially older women, and you know what I'm saying. She's not taking it too serious, but I'm trying to kind of show her the possibility of what might be in these woods, and you might be a little more cautious moving around at night around here. That's all.
Yeah, if I was trying to explain that to my mom, if my mom was still here, I would just tell her, look, you know, you're not gonna believe what I'm saying to you till it's too late. But I don't want you to get to the point to where it's too late. I would just ask her, how much do you love me? And I love you a lot. I love you. Okay, that's how much I love you. That's how much I care for you. I know what I'm saying sounds crazy. Just for my sake, for my own mental peace, keep this pistol on you and don't be running back and forth to the car in the middle of the night. If you got to go get some out the car, get it out the car before the sun go down. And then, you know what I'm saying? But don't be running around in the middle of the night in the dark trying to get stuff because it's dangerous. And then I would just leave it alone because you're not going to convince her that she's in danger because her whole life she's been there going back and forth and has never encountered anything. And what you don't want to do is you don't want, if she does hear something, you don't want her to get super paranoid. Now she's locked up in the house because she's scared out of her mind. But I would just tell her, I love you and I'm concerned about you and this is why I want you to just pay attention. I'm not saying nothing going to happen to you, but I don't want nothing to happen to you. Just pay attention to your surroundings. And I would just keep on telling her over and over and over again, even like when at the end of your conversation, Ma, I love you. Make sure you pay attention to your surroundings. Blah, blah, blah. Keep on saying it and just not brainwash her, but insert it into her mind. Hey, you need to be paying attention. And that's the best way to do it. And that way it's in there. She can't fight it if you repetitively tell it to her. It's just going to be in her mind, ingrained in her mind. You know what I'm saying?
100%. Yeah, 100%. Well, I sure appreciate it, brother. It was a pleasure talking to you, and that's all I have for you. Just to let you know, I had some land kind of close to where a lot of these stuff had taken place, and we had those attacks, and I just wanted to pick your brain on what you thought and how I should go about talking to her. But I greatly appreciate talking to you.
No, I appreciate you too, man. Be careful when you're out there.
I sure will. All right, now.
All right, later. All right, guys, that should have. Oh my God. This is Dark Waters. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, you're speaking to Marlene from Beaver Lodge, Alberta.
What's going on, Marlene?
Oh, I am glad to finally get a chance to talk to you. Okay. Well, first I'll give you. I did have a Bigfoot experience up here. I was on Sean's show and shared that real quick. that was something that was pretty terrifying. I'll share that with you guys real quick, and then you can know why it's stuck in my brain. But my family here, I was raised in the real strict fire and brimstone. You know, you look crosswayed, and you're going to hell right now. You know, do not pass go, do not collect 200. You're just going right to hell. So we went out to family Bible camp, and it was with Pentecostal out there. So now when we went out there, there would be black bears that would always come into the camp, and what they would do is they would ring this bell, and people would see that there's a bear, and somebody would go out there with a bear bang or whatever and stuff and get it out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyways, but it was getting towards, we had about the last 4 or 5 days camp, and anyways, they started ringing the bell and calling everybody to go to the main food hall, mess hall, because we all ate in that mess hall, so everybody didn't have food in their cabins. Anyway, so they called us to go in there, and it was kind of weird because it was only about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I saw there was 2 native ladies. Now this was in an hour and a half southwest of Prince George. So if you were to look on a map, you would see that there's nothing out there. Like it's wild, right? And we had taken off down a bunch of logging roads to get into this camp because they were still logging out of there. But anyway, so there was the lady, those 2 native ladies, and they had a young girl. Now, I was about 10 or 11, so because I was born in 73, and I figured I was about 10 when this happened, 9, 10, because we went for 2 years. So, yeah. Anyways, so we get to so I start talking to this girl. She's older. I believe she was 12, and she had her little brother who was about 8 or 9. I know he was just a little bit younger than me. But they started saying, hey, it was just the biggest grizzly bear that you could ever see. And now, I don't know about, like, down there, I've seen pictures about how you guys have, like, the berms or what that you guys drive on. And, like, they're built up, right? Because when you're driving in swamp. Yeah, the swampland. Well, our logging roads are built up high like that, right? Just so that because it's marshland underneath, eh? And, like, if you walk in it, you won't sink much. But these trucks, these logging trucks, because of their weight, they're built higher up and they're wide. And so when you're standing on one of those roads, you're actually looking down into either side of the ditch, and it's quite a drop. I mean, it'd be about a 6 or 7 foot drop from where you would have, if you rolled down, if you would have looked up, it would have been about 6 or 7 feet high, that road. But anyway, she was saying, yeah, it was the biggest bear we ever seen, and we were walking or we were driving, and it was so tall, and it looked like it was almost walking on its own, like it was walking, and it was high up, like you could see it even with the road. Well, dumbass kids, the 3 of us thought, hey, well, I said, do you think you can find it or whatever? And I think the parents had seen that it was a Bigfoot. Now, me being a kid, and being raised in a Christian home, I'd never heard of such a being ever existed. I was taught like demons, but that's it, right? But anyway, so I said, "Do you think we can go looking for this thing?" Yeah. So we had to run a little ways out to get out to the camp to that logging road, but she said it was heading straight. She said it would have crossed our road already. So if we walked down, like more away from the camp and deeper into the woods, we would see it. So we start walking and going, and yeah, sure enough, that how you hear that people talk about that tracing in the woods. Well, it sounded like that, but it wasn't that quiet. Like we could hear branches snapping and breaking, and only when we were walking, when we would stop, it'd be quiet, and we started hearing whistling, and I couldn't quite whistle well, but the other two were, and this thing was whistling back. So we kept walking, and we were talking, well, do bears whistle? Like, I've never heard of a whistling bear. So we kept walking and stuff, and whistling, and I don't know. All of a sudden, that fear that everybody talks about that just comes over you, and I've had that. This was the first time I experienced this, the fear where all of a sudden that that your life is in danger, and you're so terrified you can't move, right? And I know it went like just totally quiet, like the birds quit singing, like it was just quiet, and I was just paralyzed with fear. And I went to see turned my head, and out of the side of my eye, I could see that my two friends had just booted and were running back to that camp. Scared the living tar out of me. So I went after them, and I was able to overcome that fear. I prayed Jesus, please help me. I don't want to die. Please help me. I don't want to die. And maybe I believe that's what kind of maybe loosened up that fear. So I got a dogfight, I think, happening here.
Sound
maybe
like you got a WWE dogfight going on in the background.
Yeah, and they're just two little Shih Tzus and a terrier. Yeah. Okay, there you go.
Let me ask you a quick question. So I can make sure I got this right. So you guys, it was nighttime when you guys decided to go look for these, or was it still daytime, or what time of day was it?
It was, well, by the time this happened, it would have been about 4 o'clock going on 5. Okay. And it did get dark. It wouldn't have got, say, dark till later, about, I don't know, about 8 or 9, because it was in the summertime. And it was in August, so we'd already had that time, where we go back and forward with our time.
It's a time adjustment, yeah. So did you guys you guys got off, you had to go up on the logging road, or did you go down off this road into the swampy area? Or were you guys just leaving the camp? Because that's the part I missed.
Okay, no, we were leaving the camp. And there was the road into the camp. It was kind of windy. It wasn't built up as high as the logging road. So you kind of almost had to go downhill and then drive, and then you came out where this camp was, and there was a big lake there. And I know on the other side of the lake there was a public camping ground over there, because we could see those people over there water skiing, and it's just us Christians over here, You know, wearing our, this was back in the 80s, you know, wearing our T-shirts, you know, because we can't show our full bathing suit, you know, and the most we could do is dive off of the little floating dock there, or float around in a tube, or maybe canoe. That was the most of our water fun there, but yeah. Anyways, when they left, I knew that fear, and I started praying. And there was something that we could hear just started really crashing and banging. Like we could hear like a whole bunch of trees, or I heard like a whole bunch of trees like just breaking, snapping and stuff. Now I don't know if it was chasing me or what, and I didn't know you don't run from prey or anything, but yeah, now this is where it gets weird, so I hope I'll keep it PG. I told Sean this story before, but by the time, okay, so when I got back to camp, I got into camp. Now everybody was up in an uproar, I guess, looking for the three of us kids, because supposedly there's a big, giant, massive grizzly bear, like horrible, right? And shouldn't have been a big deal, like it never was a big deal before. So there had to be something special about this one that they wanted to get everybody inside, right? But so anyway, so I'm coming and I'm running up that back into that camp road, and I'm just, and I mean, I'm dirty, like I got the dust on me, and I got the snot coming out of my nose from crying so hard, and I'm hyperventilating from running so hard, and you know what a kid comes.
Yeah, I know exactly what a kid looks like when
they're
freaked
like
out.
that, and I had nothing like other than to try to wipe it on my arm, or just let it run. That was the least of my problems. But this guy comes up to me and he says, "Oh, what's your name? What's your name? Is your name Art?" Or so, I think it was like Christian, Ethan, I think he said, or Marlene. And he said, "I'm Marlene," and he's like, "Oh, you guys, you're in big trouble. The whole camp is, they're looking for you. You're in big trouble, eh? Because, the whole camp got shut down to look for us because we disappeared." And so this guy, now this is a day where I believe I ran into maybe 3 monsters, and the one out in... if it was a Bigfoot there, I believe he was the least of the monsters. But so this guy says, "Hey, come into my cabin," and he was one of the first cabins coming into the camp. So I went into his cabin, and he gave me some Kleenex, and he said, "Oh, tell me what happened. Well, what's got you so scared?" And I just said, "I don't know. That bear was whistling, and then he started breaking wood and stuff, and I didn't know, like a bear. I didn't know bears could break wood, and I just remember here like that huge ruckus that it was making, eh?" And he said, "Well, you're safe now. Calm down, calm down." And now this is when I got my second gut to fear. Just this horrible, I just had a horrible feeling in the bottom of my stomach, like my bottom dropped out. And he said, "Oh, you look like you need some comfort. Why don't you come sit over here on my bed and, let me give you a hug, eh?" And I'm thinking, well, that's kind of weird, right?
No,
so, yeah, so I'm thinking, I'm taking kind of the little steps over there, and went up to him, and he was sitting on his bed, and I was standing up, and he pulled me in front of him, and he pulled me right up against him, and he gave me a hug for like way too long that I started, pushing myself away from him. And then all of a sudden he said, you're a real pretty little girl. He's like, how old are you? And I believed I told him, I said I was like 10, or that I had just turned 10 in April of that year. And he's like, oh, wow, 10. And he's like, you know what? I bet you've never been kissed before. Have you ever been kissed before? And, being dumb, oh, yeah, I've been kissed lots before. I give my mom a kiss, and Dad and Mom give me kisses all the time. And he's like, no. He's like, have you ever been kissed on the lips, like Disneyland princess been kissed on the lips?
No good, son of a bitch.
Yeah, that's when that fucking little clue radar went on in my head, and I thought, you know what? Whatever that guy had in store for me, I think I would have rather faced the wrath of my parents, because I just had that creepy feeling, especially when he said you kissed on the lips like Disneyland. Well, I was always taught, very religious, like that. You only kiss like that only if you're married and stuff, and if you do that, well, it leads to having that other stuff, that married couples do. And
please tell me you got out of there. You left, right? You didn't.
I ran.
Go. That's my girl.
I ran
That's my
out
girl.
of there. Now I'm bawling, screaming again, and I'm screaming for my mom and dad. And they heard me. My mom found me. My dad found me. And now this is where I kind of find most of the worst of the monsters is because I get to my parents get me into my cabin, and they're mad that I took off, and I know I'm crying. I'm sorry. I never should have, and stuff. And I said, but I don't know. We ran into some kind of monster out there, and he was following us, and he was whistling at us and stuff like that. And then I don't know, we must have made him mad or something, because he just started breaking trees and everything. And so my parents said, you're lying, and I'm like, no. I'm like, it must have been that grizzly bear. And they're like, well, maybe it was, but bears don't whistle. And I'm like, I know. So what was it? So they said, well, you're going to get a spanking for that. And then I wanted them to know about the guy and the cabin that I went into. And because this is a church family camp, and he was just a single guy in his 20s, and so I told him, I said, yeah, well, when I got back, this guy took me into his cabin and helped clean me up, and with some Kleenex and stuff, and then he gave me he hugged me and stuff, and then he wanted to kiss me. Well, my parents, my dad, gave me a licking so bad for making up story. Well, one for leaving camp, which I can understand, but then he believed that I made this story up about whatever was chasing us, and then that I made this story up about that guy in the camp, and he wouldn't be that. You're just making stories up. You can't. He's out here. He's a Christian guy, so he wouldn't do that to children. So, but I know that guy was a pedophile. If I stayed there, he would have done that something. But I started telling, like, hey, like those other kids, they can back up my story, And I guess as soon as they weren't camping there, but they were out there for the evening service, and they, as soon as their kids got back, they rounded them up in the car and just left. And that native guy, he was there throughout the whole rest of the camp, and I had to see him, at breakfast, lunch, in the mess hall, and, we had church out there twice a day. We had a morning, and then we had the afternoon free, and then we had the evening service. So I had to see him for the last 3 or 4 days that we were still out camping, and I never left my mom's side, but to me, the days though, to me, I met 3 monsters that day, and the worst monster I feel was my family, because when they accused me of lying on everything, it really devastated me as a kid, but in a way, it's also marked it because they physically scarred me so bad. I remember everything in so much detail.
Well, I tell you what, darling, I'm so sorry to hear that happen to you, because as a child, you expect your parents to be the protectors and to believe you, and I am sorry that happened to you. That's got to be traumatizing. But I will say this. I really, really am so happy that you had the gut instinct to get the hell away from that person. You know what I'm saying? And that tells me you're a very, very strong person, because to go through that and then live the rest of your life with that kind of trauma, I mean, I know that you've probably been through a lot, and it just shows that you're a strong person to get to where you are in life, even with that as a background, because that's a traumatic incident. You go into the woods, you have something freaky chase after you, and all you want is safety as a kid, and you don't find any solace with anyone. You know what I'm saying? So I really appreciate you calling in, my love, because we're about to be off air in 5 minutes.
Well,
I want to tell you thank you. Got anything else?
Do you? Yeah, well, actually, yeah, I do, because with what's been going on, and I'm saying with all these bears attacks here, I used to look after 42 sled dogs.
Okay.
Or 44 sled dogs, sorry. And part of those were, some of them were pure wolves, some of them were part wolves. So, they weren't raised anywhere near puppies. These were raised as, sled dogs, wild sled dogs. And, anyways, now, he raised them in the different groups, and he had, my boss, because I was hired on to, as an animal care attendant, so I was responsible for their training and, making sure that they're maintaining the right weights and diets and it was quite a bit I had to learn. But anyways, a guy came down and he brought 12 dogs down from Alaska, and he was working with me on, better training, for them. And he was saying, no, when those dogs start to go to fight, you got to be a lot more medium to, because, you've got to beat them to almost an inch in their life, because if they're all in a harness together, 8 of them or 12 of them, and they get into a fight and they're all tied together, they'll kill each other, and there goes your whole sled team, eh? And I mean, these dogs were upwards $20,000. And this was back in 96, 1990, 96, 97, and 95 is when I worked out there. Anyways, so that one guy that had brought the 12 dogs down, and he was working with me, and he said, I know the guys, they go around and they, growl and, tiff, tiff, tiff. And he said, But he said you gotta watch the females. He says because when he said the females, they won't growl or they won't do anything, but when they go to fight, they're gonna fight to the death, and they're gonna fight till whoever they get is dead. And sure enough, I took them. I had to take them I would walk them, and this was a day when they were on a free run, but I had a 1 mile marker, so I would get there, and then I would turn around and come back. So they get a 2 mile run every day, free run every other day, instead of because out of training, we just had a quad with wheels on it and put them up in the harness, and that's what we used in the summertime. But anyways, so I got about halfway up, and my gut, like the girls were just being bitchy and growling at each other and everything, and just something in my gut just thought, no, this is not a good day. So I turned around and brought them with me, and I got them back in the dog yard, and we've got 44 dogs in there. So when we would normally come back, they'd start barking, right? Well, as I was getting some of them tied up, the dog fight with the females broke out in that yard, and 6 of them jumped on the one alpha female and was trying to kill her. And you know how they say never stick your hand in a dog fight?
Right.
Well, I did. I did. I mean, I grabbed the whip and everything. I got my hands in there. I got sliced right up. I was in the hospital for 3 weeks, just on for infection, draining out the infection and antibiotics and stuff. And the area where the dog fight went on, you could tell there was a big dog attack. I mean, you could see, well, because I was fighting, right? But the thing, too, what blew me away is that I got that one head dog, I got her underneath my legs, and or in between my legs, and then she didn't realize I had her. She bit me twice, too, in the legs. I ended up having 14 bites. One went right through because I actually ended up having to punch. And when I punched one, and they bit that canine, the jagged tooth, went through my thumb and came out the other side. And I remember it when it was shaking its head. My hand was going with it, and I couldn't figure out why, so I just ripped it back. Well, it ripped my thumb into, or my thumb into where the nail was. It ripped it like up an inch, so you could see the bone there and everything. And I had a fracture break just from one of them biting on my wrist. The pressure broke my wrist and stuff. But it was a mess. But what amazed me too was that these dogs, I got her and I had her underneath me, right? And it's not that they wanted me, but they realized that they had to get through me to get to her, and they were smart enough to time the 6 of them to circle me, and one of them in front would go to make an approach on me, right? And that's where they wanted me to think that the break attack would, fight would happen. But here, the first time that they tried that, I realized that there was 2 behind me that had tried to grab at her, but they missed, and they grabbed my ankle and bit. and were pulling on my ankle, and one had tried to bite her tail, I guess, and but then I missed, and I had to sit like that for about 20 minutes before the owner, because the dogs wouldn't stop barking, that because I couldn't get up, because as soon as I got up, they would have attacked her, right? So I was stuck for 20 minutes with just these dogs circling, just circling. And like I said, some of these were straight up wolves, right? But that was his lead dog, and I think she was part wolf too. So, yeah, so I sat there for 20 minutes with this going on. Yeah, and anyway, so his wife finally, because she had been hearing the dogs bark and bark and bark and bark. I mean, you can hear them bark, but then they stop, right? But she heard it going on, and she knew that I was in the yard, so she went in there, and as soon as she saw me, she went to freak out. She came to me, and I told her, I said, no, no, no. I said, go get some gloves on, and I said, you got to grab the other dogs and tie them up before I can move, because as soon as I move, they're going to be on her. So she did. She had to go get the big gloves on, because as soon as she grabbed their collars, they turned around and they would try to bite, hey?
Wow.
And anyway,
Well,
she
love,
got them
I hate to cut you
all
off, but I'm
tied
gonna have
up.
to let you go because I'm about to close the show out. I'll tell you what, I will be back. Today is Tuesday. I will be back Thursday. I want you to call in and finish telling me the rest of the story, because you're hitting on
Well,
something
and I
about
got
wolves that I
another
think are really
Paramount one
important.
too, and I
Well,
need to
I
find
can't
out
take another
how
one
I'm
right now
locked
because
out
the
of your
show's
site.
about to end. I can't take another one right now because the show's about to end. Like, I literally got to wrap
Okay.
up. But I will definitely
Yep.
talk to you Thursday. All right, love?
Thursday. Okay.
Absolutely. Call back Thursday.
What
Thanks.
time?
I'll be back on at 7 from 7 to 9.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you, love.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Guys, we're going to wrap it up, but I do want to say something. So, if you're in the chat and you hear these conversations, and this is what you got to understand, this is what I do when I talk to people. Like, this is what I do. Like, you're literally listening to what I do. Some conversations go long, some conversations spin around. You don't. I don't like rushing people off, but I wanted to keep this at 2 hours, and I promise her I'm gonna actually have her number. I'll probably call her on Thursday before she calls me. But don't be rude to my callers. Talking about speed it up, none of that. This is how you learn something, and this is how you get information. So she just disclosed to you the literal wolf tactics and techniques that she encountered while she was trying to stop these wolves or these wolf dogs from fighting each other, which spins and dovetails back into everything that I've told you guys about Dogman. It's literally the exact same tactics that witnesses have encountered that have had Dogman encounters, where there's one that they see in front of them, then there's another one circling around behind them. The exact same thing. This is why when I talk to witnesses, I let them talk and I listen carefully and I learn from people, because this is where the information comes from. You will be amazed that something that you believe is off topic, how it applies to a topic if you're wise enough and smart enough to listen. So that's why the guy got banned, because I don't play none of that foolishness. And she's a strong lady. And for example, the story of her experiencing the Bigfoot and then the rest of the encounters with the man trying to take advantage of her and her family. I mean, that would be one of the stories that you would hear me produce, and it would sound like she would relive it, because it's actually a story that I would produce, because it would be called Three Monsters. I would literally produce that story. You know what I'm saying? I know she's not lying. I'm listening to her tone. I'm listening to her. And if you listen to her, you can hear her reliving it as she's talking about it. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to close this out because we want to keep it at 2 hours. We're not going to go 4 or 5 hours. I appreciate each and every one of you listening. I appreciate each and every one of you being here. I love you and I appreciate you. And we're going to do this call-in show a hell of a lot. This is where I'm most comfortable. This is where this is my lane more than anything. Just talking to people. I don't care who calls, what they call about. This is my lane, and I love it. With that being said, it's your boy Dog Waters, and we getting out of here, baby.
Gonna get a lot of dough. Anything is possible. Turn me up in the headphone. Yeah. Trying to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Yeah. Oh man, I got a lot of gold. Stack that bread and by my nose. Anything is possible. Yeah. Trying to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Hey. Oh man, I got a lot of gold. Stack that bread and by my nose. Anything is possible. Hey. I grind to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Yeah. Oh man, I got a lot of gold. Stack that bread and by my nose. Anything is possible. Yeah, all I know is get paper. All I do is shit major. Bought a condo on the top floor and the building's a skyscraper. Feeling like I'm Kobe, LeBron for the Lakers. Feeling like I'm Idris, Paul Walker, Taker. New Rollie, no diamonds in it. New Porsche, all dimes in it. I'm infatuated with fine women. Corona extra with the lime in it. Just to chase the Henny. Used to be a penny pincher. Now I'm in plenty business. Grind hard, nigga, on guard.
Grind hard, nigga, on guard.
Yeah. We grind to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Hey. Oh man, I got a lot of gold. Stack that bread and by my nose. Anything is possible. Hey. I grind to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Yeah. Oh man, I got a lot of gold. Stack that bread and by my nose. Anything is possible. I lean with it, I rock with it. Locks under my socks fitted. Tahoe with the black tint. Houston girl, heavy accent, but my whole swag is magic. High five, fantastic. Make the money stretch like elastic. Making moves that you couldn't imagine. Eating, still watching my calories. Just to pull in that big boy salary. It's just the way that it has to be. I'm a bad boy, Mike Lowry. While I'm sipping this Henny. And all of my niggas is with me. Yeah, grind hard, nigga, on guard.
Grind hard, nigga, on guard.
Yeah. Grind to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Hey. Oh man, I got a lot of gold. Stack that bread and by my nose. Anything is possible. Hey. I grind to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Yeah. Oh man, I got a lot of gold. Stack that bread and by my nose. Anything is possible.